The year 2020 is turning out to be an interesting year, and it's different from the rest of the years. And so if you intend to buy a house, whether is it going to be for your home or for investment purposes, watch this video right to the end so that I can share with you 3 things that you should know when you buy that property. Hi, my name is Calvyn and welcome to my channel. Let's get straight into the topic itself. So let's see the first thing that you should know if you intend to buy a property this year in the year 2020. So the first thing is that the property market is lagging 6 months behind the real economy outside. Okay, let me give an example so that you understand what I'm trying to say. So when you want to buy a share, say Microsoft or Apple, so what you do is you go to the stock market to buy. And generally speaking, the stock market will react to what's happening in the world today. For example, if the market is bad, generally market is bad, then what will happen is that all the stocks in the stock market will drop in price. Which is what is happening now. The market situation out there, the real market situation is terrible. Yeah, I know that our stock market is reacting very weird. It's not like this. Yeah, it's not normal. Yeah, but generally speaking, what actually has happened is if the market is bad, business is not doing well, businesses are closing down, customers are not buying your product, what will happen is that the price will drop, will come down. Okay, and it is and you can, when you see the price coming down and you see all that sort of peaks and troughs, you can see it moving up and down. And at a certain point, what is actually will happen is that there'll be a willing buyer and a willing seller, and then the transactions happen at that particular second, that particular moment in time. However, for the property market itself is different. Okay, let me just again give you examples so that you can understand what I'm trying to say. So if a seller wants to sell the property, his property at $100,000, how does he decide what's the price tag? How did he come to this conclusion that it is worth $100,000? Well, generally speaking, a lot of the sellers, how they make this conclusion and how they make this price is that they see what's happening down the road. Oh, that neighbor down there, or he just managed to sell his property for $95,000. Ah, okay, I understand. And then the other neighbor down here managed to sell the property for $105,000. So he will think, oh, then probably my property, the house that I have, is probably worth $100,000. And that's generally how people make decision, how on listing their price, listing the price of their property. But then again, probably the price at $95,000 here, the property was sold maybe 3 months ago, or even the $105,000 property here, the transaction happened 6 months ago. So, but current situation is different, right? So the market situation is that the market is not doing very well, and as a result, though I would like, as a seller, of course, they want to get the best price for their property, and so they will set the price at $100,000. And then what happens is there will be a lot of people coming in to view the property, in, out, and then what happens? After 2 months, the seller will say, no, there's no bite. I didn't get any offer. Okay, let's lower the price down to $95,000. Again, after 2 months of people coming in and out, looking at the property with no offers, then the seller will say, okay, now it's $90,000. And so you can find that the decision of making, it takes a bit of time from the $100,000 to $95,000 to $90,000. So it takes a bit of time for that to happen. And then at a certain point in time, there is a willing seller, a willing buyer situation where the property will be transacted. So that's why for the property market, there is a 6 months lag, because of human behavior, human psychology, that we want the best price for the property that we have. And so this is the situation out there, which is quite different from the real market. Like the stock market, everything is reflected almost immediately. But for the real estate market, the property market, it is different. It takes around a 6 months gap. So while this, you may think that this is happening only when the market is going down. Well, not necessarily true as well. When the market is going up, the same situation also happens, and there is actually a 6 months gap between the real market is happening until the time the price of the property reflects the market out there. I had also made another video on why you should be considering buying a property this year in the year 2020, and the video is up there. Yeah, so watch it after this, after you finish the whole video. But then you will tell me, hey Calvyn, it's not true what you're saying. You know, in my city, the city where I'm staying, the prices of the property is going up. Well, you are right. Well, because we know from the studies that's happening and the results of studies that's happening in the US and also in the UK, it is found that properties that are being transacted for the last 2 to 3 months, the prices is higher compared to a year ago, right? And you find, wait, it doesn't make sense, right? So before I tell you the reason why this is happening, let's give you the second things that you should know. Okay, second thing that you should know if you intend to buy property during this time in the year 2020 is that this kind of high prices will not last long. Okay, now let's come back to the reason why. Okay, the reason why these prices have been going up in the last 2-3 months is really because of government intervention. Because of the situation, the economic situation, so governments around the world is putting out a lot of stimulus package. So they have a lot of things that they're doing to intervene in the market, to stimulate the market so that the market will not drop. And the same is true for the property market, where they introduce a lot of policies and stuff like that. So example is actually the forbearance policy in the US, or in a lot of other countries they may call it a moratorium. So depending on which country you're from, they will use different terminology, right? But generally speaking, what it means is that you, if you are a homeowner and you have a housing loan, what actually happens is that you can stop paying your housing loan for 3 months or 6 months, depending on the country where you are from. By right, what actually will happen is that if I'm a homeowner and I'm unemployed or I have a pay cut, so and I cannot keep up with paying this home loan, so the natural situation is that I will have to sell my house. But because of this intervention by the government, which means you don't have to pay this home loan for the next 3 months or the next 6 months. So what actually happens is that the property by right should have gone into the market. It is now still being held by the homeowner himself, right? They are hoping that at the end of the period, they can get a new job or a higher salary, something like that. And so when this intervention period ends, when this moratorium ends, when this forbearance ends in 3 months or 6 months time, what happens? Well, then you will have to come and pay the housing loan. And if your circumstances have not changed, then more often than not, you are forced to sell your property. So at that very point in time, suddenly you'll find that there will be a lot of property starting to hit the market almost immediately. And because of that, prices will fall. Okay, so that's one thing that will happen. And the other thing that's causing the prices to be either stable, not fall, or even going up is also because, again, government policies that they are waiving stamp duties. For example, in the UK, the government have introduced a stamp duty holiday for purchases. So what it means is that if you buy a property, then you don't need to pay these stamp duties, this 2 to 3% stamp duty, which is a huge saving if you intend to buy a property, right? So if you intend to buy a property, let's say for £100,000, then but instead of paying an additional another £2,000 or £3,000 as stamp duties, you don't have to pay anymore. So the market knows that, the seller knows that, and so what's happening in the UK is that the instead of the price remaining at £100,000, pounds, the seller is now putting up to 102,000 pounds, 103,000 pounds. And that's what's happening. That's why there's a little 2 to 3% increase in property prices in places outside of London. So that's because of this government intervention. That's why you can find that the price of property actually is going up. But then again, once this government intervention stops, what will actually happen is that when the market takes the natural course, is that it will slowly go down in price. So if you're intending to buy a property, then this is when that you should be going out there to have a look at this kind of properties, and then keeping in mind maybe a certain area that you would like to buy, or maybe a certain suburb, or even a certain specific homes that you want to buy. You just do your survey out there and then starts to decide where you want to buy while waiting for the price to slowly come down. If you like topics like this and you like to learn how to be financially free and retiring early, start right now by clicking on the subscribe button here, so that whenever I come up with new videos, you will be notified. The third thing that you should know if you intend to buy a property this year, in the year 2020, is that there will always be a great deal, whether the market is going up, the prices of market is high, or the prices of houses are very low. There will always be a great deal. So you say, how is it possible? Okay, let me just share with you how is it possible, right? One of the things that possible, even in the good times, right, is that when there is a divorce, where both husband and wife, they own the property in a joint name, right? And now because they are divorced, they just don't want to have anything to do with one another, and what they do is they want to quickly liquidate their position, and they will sell the property at a good price. The other thing that will happen is that also when there is bankruptcy, like this kind of situation now in this scenario, right, where the owners will have to quickly dispose the property so that they can take the money and pay off all the debts that they're having. Or maybe there is a cash flow problem, that there is maybe a medical emergency and things like that, and they need to dispose the property quick, right? And of course, maybe there's a death in the family. Maybe the owner has passed on, and the heirs, the people, the children wants to liquidate the property. And you will say, hey, you are taking advantage of people's misery, right? Well, I would like to say the answer is no. Okay, because why? Because if you don't buy the property, nobody's buying the property, right? You are actually helping the owner. You're helping the family so that they can dispose the property quickly, so that they can move on to the next phase in life. So this is why there is a opportunity where that there will be great deal during any time, whether the market is high or market is low. So if you go out more and you see enough properties, every now and then you will come across that great deal. So please go out there and look for that property. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It's up there, so that every time I come up with new videos, you'll be notified.